Hey everybody, it's Ron over at Becoming Enlightened Together. Okay, I hope it works this time. This is the third freaking time that I've tried to record this video, and I don't know. Weird things just keep happening. So, one, I was a weirdo. I accidentally, as I just expressed myself, being all Italian and everything, I'm Italian. My mom was raised in a very Italian family, so, and I talk a lot with my hands. I'm sure you've already seen. I ended up hitting the stop button. So that was one. One that just stopped recording for whatever reason. So here we are, number 3. Let's go ahead, and I'm just going to get right into it since I've already talked so much. I don't even remember what I said anymore. But I'm entitling this reading A Karmic Transformation. And we're going to see why. Because this reading, as the whole last 2 weeks have been talking about, a great deal of focus has been put on the karmics in our life. Even though we may not be seeing, these things happen, or the evidence for these things actually happening to these people. We may not even have talked to these people in some cases quite a while, right? But behind the scenes, the people that have been doing so much of this nastiness and everything else, they are really going through it, and or starting to go through it. And at least for one of them, it looks like it's going to result in some type of a transformation and regeneration, healing, growth, all of these types of things. At the end, it looks like. And while others, that they had done a lot of these heinous acts with and so on, they may not even make it out alive. And again, I know this to be an absolute truth simply because this is something that has been said to me multiple times over the last several months. Okay? So this is something that is in the works. Some of you may already have happened. Some of you may be very much already aware of a lot of these things. Well, others, we're still on a different timeline, so they haven't been revealed to us in a materialistic sense. In other words, we haven't been presented with all this information, like here's the evidence, here's the receipts and all that for this, that, and the other thing. You're just hearing it from me at this point. But that's how divination works. And this is why, it's coveted, because for some cases, some purposes, some situations, you really do get a look into what is the perceivable future, okay, or the present, okay, and it gives you an actual result, a potential result or end, to that situation, okay. In this particular case, at least one of the karmics in our life is going to transform as a result of all that they're going through. And they're really going through it, trust me. All right, so what does the rune heinous mean in the reverse? Okay, now heinous is also the rune for Heimdall, okay, the great protector of Asgard and everything else. He watches over the Rainbow Bridge into Asgard, where the gods are. And he has super senses. He can see for hundreds of miles in all directions. He can hear the grass growing. Nothing gets past him, that kind of a thing. Okay. All right, but in the reverse, what it talks about is disruptions, disruptive forces. It talks about natural disasters, uncontrolled disasters or catastrophes, and that includes also in your mind as well as in the physical, but it really looks like it's talking about physical situations here. So stagnation is also a result. Loss of one's power. That can be loss of the electrical power in your home if it is a natural disaster we're talking about. For somebody out there, it may very well be. Whether it's a flood, a hurricane, earthquakes, landslides. There's so many different possibilities, and in this world, we're seeing more and more examples of it. I would say almost daily. Been watching the Rim of Fire, especially, from Northern California all the way up to basically Alaska and so on. There's a lot of activities going on, and there's at least 3 volcanoes that are showing signs, in Northern California, Oregon, and in Washington. And, you got the plate that's right off the ocean there. If that actually shifts, it could create a huge tsunami, which seems to have been recorded on either Oregon or Washington hundreds of years ago. I mean, a massive tsunami. So there's a lot that, could possibly or potentially be happening, and it doesn't focus on any one particular situation. It's collective reading or collective energy. So I ask for what the collective needs to hear. That means the very people who are going to tune into this, there is some truth to be found from this. Okay? All right. So suffering and hardship and crisis, sickness as well is also part of this overall energy that we've been getting. So somebody out there may have gotten sick, and that can be mentally, as we talked about with, the uncontrolled disasters or, forces in our minds, as well as the physical world. But it could also be physical sickness of some type. All right. Now, the past energy is that of Ewas. Now, Ewas too is in the reverse. Now, the past energy that we're talking about is the rune that I pulled for today, Thursday. And I did that when I pulled out the week's energy on Sunday. So I pull out runes for energy overall, supplemental to the overall weekly energy for that particular day. And it was this particular rune in reverse, which is echoing what we have for the overall energy in terms of its low vibration. Okay, so what it talks about is very long journeys, but it also talks about sudden changes, restlessness and mistrust, disharmony of all types. It talks about recklessness and betrayal. Like I said, it's really giving us an idea of a lot of what these karmic people in our life are really going through behind the scenes, whether we see it or not. And some of them are never going to relent. So we may see, as we're going to see next in the present energy, that it could even result in death. Okay. Now, on that subject, what we got for our present energy is that of Rado, that it's in reverse. Now, Rado in reverse talks about an upset of plans. They have made many plans along the way about what they were going to do, to perhaps find a way to get money, that's less than reputable, so to speak, dishonest, okay? Which means they were going to do somebody else harm, basically, or take something from somebody else. All right. So their plans have been upset. Maybe they have been found out. We have many delays. We have a crisis of some sort. Again, stagnation. We see that echoed again and again and again all week long. Injustice. Maybe there has been both an injustice done to them as a way of teaching them about the injustices that they had no problem doing to many others along the way. Okay? Now, they're not taking it well at this moment, whoever these people are. They're still pointing the finger at everybody but themselves. They don't want to accept the responsibility yet. Although one person is starting to see the error of their ways, like I said. Now, this is also, again, echoed about disruptions. Somebody may have actually been demoted or even fired at work. Somebody who is very delusional, and again, there's also a possibility of death. So, again, for the karmics who have been doing the most in our lives, working diligently without your even being aware that they were against you and hating on you and wanting, what it is you have and jealous of you and even wanting you to simply disappear. I mean, literally. They want you to disappear. You are, in some way, shape, or form, a burden to their life. You're a burden to their existence. It's like you take the focus off of them. I don't know. But anyway, as far as the obstacles and challenges, another god shows up, and this is Thor's mighty rune. This is Thurasas. Now, it too is in the reverse. So it's one of the most powerful runes in the runic, deck of 24, 3 families. And it does represent one of the most powerful gods, Thor. So in the reverse, you can imagine some of the energy. Now this really relays not only what these karmics are going through, but sometimes why they're going through it. And in this case, it tells us because they are just stubborn beyond belief, no matter how much they are being shown and trying to be taught, to turn away from the things that they're doing. They're unhealthy. They're not positive. They're not helpful. You're being absolutely selfish and self-centered and lazy and all these other things. Just if you put half this energy into doing the right thing, you would have been so far ahead already by now. But you want to take the easy way out, and you're going to pay the price. So they're living a foolhardy life as well. And they simply will not take advice. Some of these people I've been trying to give advice to for up to now 5 or 6 years. And they're still, and in some cases, a few years beyond even that. And, well, they're finding out. That's all I can say. They're finding out. So they're living a life of folly, putting themselves in danger and those around them. They are defenseless at this time. They are both betraying others still and being betrayed by others, the very same people that they hung around with. They are completely compulsive at this time, so whatever it is, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or sex, they simply are going to do whatever it takes to fulfill those compulsions. They have no self-control, none. So evil, malice, hatred, even torment. I mean, they are literally tormented by your very existence. They feel that, again, somehow you are the responsible party for their life going downhill at this point. So just for what it's worth, so they have a great deal of spite right now, and they're telling a tremendous amount of lies. Even now, they're slandering your name and saying this, that, and the other thing, about you being a bad person. At least somebody here may, in fact, actually be a rapist. Rape is one of the possible meanings of this rune in reverse. And it just means, in general, it's a very bad person. So this is the energy that they embody collectively in the karmic world right now, in our individual karmic world, even though we may not see a lot of what this is going on. But the amount of energy they put towards you, even if it's just things they are uttering to themselves or to others around them, or indeed doing some, kind of dark intrigue, if you will, dark magic, whatever it is that they're doing. I don't know, whether it's hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, whether it's, simply Corallian dark magic or something else even. I just know that it's negative energy work, okay? So the help and advice is Wunyo, and it too is in reverse. And this is a very positive rune in the upright, so it's not so positive in the reverse. So your help and advice is that of dissatisfaction and misery and fear and impatience, somebody who is headstrong, going through a tremendous amount of sorrow and strife and alienation, intoxication, somebody in their life, and this, like I said, not all of the karmics are created equal, so some of them are far worse off than others. Like I said, this reading is not only telling us what they're going through, but some of the reasons why. And in this particular case, it literally talks about possession. Yes, demonic possession, or whatever the case may be, possession by jinn or whatever negative entities, reptilians, whatever it is you believe, or completely taken over by another personality. I don't know, but that's what it's talking about, referring to in this case for some of these karmics. So they have an impractical enthusiasm about what they're doing, at least outwardly. They're trying still to put on this mask, but their mask is crumbling and people are starting to see. So some of them are actually in a level of what we call berserker behavior. They're literally irrational beyond belief, and they're going crazy. Raging frenzy is one of the words or phrases that is used in this particular explanation for Wunyo in the reverse. So you can see all of these things, and why that's under help and advice. Well, because it lets us know, one, this is exactly what they are going through and why they are going through it. It also helps those who are trying to find answers themselves who are going through this. It provides them at least some other possible insight. They don't have to, and as we've already seen already, and with Thurisaz, they don't heed advice, some of them. So even though I describe maybe even exactly what they're going through, they're still going to doubt it, and they're still going to put the blame either on me or you or whoever it is, you know. So it is what it is. I'm just relaying the message, okay? So that's the help and advice. Now the future outcome, like I said, for at least one of the karmics out there, hopefully more, but I'm not seeing this, you know, in the plural sense. I'm seeing this in a singular, you know, energetic description here. But somebody is going to merge in terms of our future, or their future, with the rune Berkana. And Berkana is the only rune in this entire reading that's in the upright. This too is a goddess. This is the birch goddess, or what they call the Great Mother. It could be likened in some ways to like Mother Nature, Mother. I wouldn't say Mother Gaia per se. It's a separate goddess, but she looks over the flora, the fauna, the animals, young children and women when they pass over. They guide, or she guides them. So those are some of the roles. So what they're intimating here is that at least for some karmic out there, there is going to be a death, but for this person who sees things for what they really are and is willing and accepting responsibility and trying to make necessary changes in their life like every one of us had to do, they're going to have a rebirth, a regeneration, a liberation, a renewal, a new beginning, growth. It even gets to the point of seeing that they may even start to get some of the rewards. It talks about arousal of desire, a love affair, an entire new enterprise or venture to be taken. So it talks about fertility. And that doesn't just necessarily mean giving birth to a child, although it could. It talks about maybe, you know, birthing a new idea or enterprise, like I just stated here. So that is the future outcome for at least one of the karmics in your particular life. Okay, so all of these things are going to start to become more and more evident, you know, as every day goes by. I think we're going to start to see more and more proof of all of these things happening. Again, though, we're all on a different timeline, so some of you have already gone through this, some of you are going through right this second. I know I am. Others, you're still in the entering phases to this. So this timeline is going to be different for each and every one of us. Alright, so, and as always, if you have anything to say or to comment, by all means, please just go ahead and reach out. And for those handful who have, you know that I always, you know, come back and answer you, or at the very least give you some love, you know, like you've shown me, okay? So with that being said, y'all stay victorious out there. Someday we will all be together to wage that final battle, you know, in Valhalla. Ragnarok. Take care. God bless.